It should be live now. So I'm folding my laundry and I'm watching like TV, folding laundry, and I'm looking at this laundry covered in dog hair. And I'm like, so now I'm looking, do you ever just look at a basket? You're like, is this clean? And then you start, I don't. But like there were some towels that were in there that I guess had gotten mixed in that were still folded. And I was like, okay, so clean laundry doesn't come out with folded towels in it. So I put it on the, yeah, Renee. So I put it on the floor and I'm kicking it out the hallway. Oh, wait, Coleman Green. Hold on, is he here? Coleman Green. I'm going to invite you, but it's not letting me. Hold on. Why can't I do it, Coleman? I wanted to invite you on the show. Coleman Green is it says, I think I sent 17 invites. That's for you. You have pants on? Coleman Green is a very funny comedian. You have to follow each other. Oh, thank you, Erin. It just says invite. Coleman, follow me. Am I following you? I don't know. So Coleman is basically my comedy husband. Oh, good, Brooke. And but sometimes he doesn't always have pants on. I mean, when we FaceTime or shirt. You know what? This is too much information now that I'm saying it out loud. Let's go back to my dirty laundry. Turns out they never cleaned it. So now my kids are doing this thing where they take a basket from me. They walk it down the steps. I guess they just drop it on the ground. And then they wait a couple hours. And then I go, has anybody seen my laundry? And they're like, we should bring that up. And then they bring it up dirty, hand it to me, bring it, put it in my room, and then just wait to see if I figure it out. Anybody? Wait, what? Wait, do we need pants for this show? No, you don't. Oh, look. Now, Muhammad Khalid wants to be on the show, and I don't know him. I would rather comment on the show. Sorry, Muhammad. You don't need to go put pants on. You're fine. So that was my morning, and I'm currently wearing dirty socks. So that's how my day has started. And I wish you the best in your kids helping you with laundry. So listen, I hope everybody is excited. We already got past Monday, so this week should be great. And if you're from around here, you know that the weather has gone from, it's a beautiful spring day to we're all going to be burning in the fires of hell. So it's changed over fairly quick here. So we'll see how it goes. It looks like sexy producer Michelle is kind of here, but not really. She's also a little bit under the weather. So hopefully I hope we do not need pants because I'm still in bed wearing pajamas. Nope. You don't need pants. It's pouring rain here in Texas. Yeah, there's a lot happening. So you may have figured out that we have a guest again today. So last week we did our first episode of what we're calling Tip Tuesday, where we are learning tips from different guests, and we are doing a series. We're in the middle of a series. It's going to be a series of 5 sessions that we have with Finance Michelle. You may remember her from last week. This is Michelle, and she was so hilarious. And talked about all things finance, specifically as we were talking about like the sandwich generation. And the next few weeks, we'll be getting a little bit more specific on some things that you should be thinking of. And again, these are just conversations that I've been having kind of in my own personal life. Whether it's about divorce planning or with my mom and kind of planning for retirement age, or I know that we had tapped into our college 529s. If you are planning for a child with special needs, we'll be hitting all of those in different weeks. But today we are talking all things divorce. So please help me welcome to the show, Finance Michelle. Come on, Michelle, you slide in. Look at her. Here she comes. There she comes. There she goes. Let me push this back. So you have to show everybody your shirt because it's hilarious.
Oh, okay.
And tell them where you got it.
I feel like I should. Can I ask the server for a booster seat?
I know, right? I know. You can't.
Okay.
We'll sit you on a book next time.
So
go ahead.
All right. This is my shirt. What does your shirt say?
Mine says, don't interrupt me while I'm ignoring you.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, thank
so
you.
This I got from my separation party that my girlfriends threw me when I got separated. It's way better than a bridal shower, just saying.
You can't see it, but it's a good one. If you are new to us and new to Michelle, then you'll know that Michelle and I met through a gig I did a few month ago, 2 months ago, maybe.
It's February.
And I am kind of in the process of trying to figure out all finance stuff for myself as I kind of move through divorce. And I've gotten a lot of things done, but I kind of stopped short of like a will, or am I going to die soon, or what would I do with my things? I've never had things before. So now that I have things, I guess I'm supposed to plan for what I'm supposed to do with them. So today's episode, we're specifically talking divorce, right? Mm-hmm. And Michelle has put together some true and false statements to see where we are all in understanding some falsehoods and truths about divorce. I have not read them, so I'm going to be playing along with us. So you're going to say, you ask the question, but don't tell us the answer right away, and we'll see who can get it right.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
So before we begin,
okay,
I just want to make a disclaimer. I don't hate men.
Okay.
This is a confessional.
Okay.
I'm just saying this because sometimes when we start talking about divorce and we're advocating for our own gender, my baby daddy used to love to say to me, my friends think that you hate men. And I'm like, well, my friends think you're the reason I hate men. But just kidding. But as you said last week, this is a high female population in the audience, but we do like and appreciate good men. That's just my disclaimer.
No, I think that's great. I think it's great. And I think that there are men that are listening as well that could get, great information if they find themselves in a certain scenario. So my thing, the communal thing is that I think it's important to be educated so that you can make the best choice for yourself. And so no matter what circumstance you're in. So that's what these conversations about. And we're happy you're here. All right, here we go.
Okay, ready?
First, truth or falsehood. Here we go.
True or false? You should get married for love.
Are you talking about the first marriage or the second marriage? Wasn't there saying
the starter marriage is usually love, isn't it?
It's usually love. It's first time it's for love. No, isn't it supposed to be first time is for money, the second time is for love, because then you'd have money left over.
I think that we all get it reversed. Like all of the rom-coms convince us that
it's supposed to be for love, and it's not supposed to be.
I blame 16 Candles.
Obviously. Marie's like, that's a toughie.
Yeah, that is.
I guess it's true.
I just made that.
That's why we're all here.
I'm still actually, to be fair, the answer is being worked through with my therapist on a weekly basis. Okay. And I'll let you know when
fair. Okay. So we don't have an answer.
Right. So, okay. Ready. Okay. Let's pick a good one.
Okay. Here we go. Second time is for the beach house. That's true.
You should know the answer.
Okay.
It is important to update your will and other estate planning documents immediately after divorce.
Immediately feels aggressive because it's been a year. Is a year immediately?
Well, I understand that when you first get divorced, you feel born again. So that's not on your mind.
I was going to say, there were a lot of other things that I had to do. I thought you got married because you were pregnant.
I had to update my laser treatments.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I mean, immediate feels, again, aggressive. Yeah, define immediately. Okay,
all right, let's stop the semantics. Suji, true or false? You should update your
yes,
estate
you
plan.
probably should, Michelle.
Okay, that's true.
Even though I have no idea.
All right. So why would you want to update your estate plan?
Why would you?
Why? Let's ask the audience. What do they think? Why would you want to get his name off the house, life insurance? Okay, and that depends on what your divorce decree said. But
you wanted to do for your estate. But yeah, I would imagine to make sure you're planning for your family and if something should happen to you and all of that. New accounts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think, or imagine, so let's say you did have an estate plan. Because many married people do have estate plans, right? And that could be your will.
I feel like raise your hand. Well, hold on. Yeah, you're hilarious. How many people that are currently watching have an estate plan? Just say, yes, I have a plan, or girl, what are you talking about? Just those two. I want Michelle to get a real good
I like
indication of how many of us have plans, because I feel like, yes, I have a plan. Me, nope, yes, nope, I do, yes, a plan, nope.
The plan can't be in your head.
Nope, it has to be on paper. Girl, what are you talking about? What estate? What's an estate plan? Girl, no. What are you talking about? Yeah, broke. I have a trust. No plan here. Nope. I need an estate. I feel like, yes, my husband is responsible. Kelly, is that a good answer? I don't think that was a good answer that Kelly said. She said he's responsible. Oh. But like he's responsible or he's responsible. So he said, either way, you should know about it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe like she means like her husband is a responsible man.
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying I don't have an estate. I wouldn't. What do you think an estate? Do you have to have a house? Like if you don't own a house, say you're renting, do you need an estate plan?
Yes.
For what?
Because an estate plan is not just like if you own things, it's also power of attorney, medical power of attorney.
Oh, like what you're going need to define what an estate plan includes.
Estate plan is, first of all, people
because a lot of people are like, we don't have an estate,
right? Or people are like, oh, it's a will. Like my kids will figure, like they'll figure it out. And I to a certain extent, you'll be dead, so who cares, right? Like you won't know what happens. You're dead. So, and I don't mean to be callous about it, but it's true. People are like, oh, I don't know if I should leave this to this one or this one. Like, I don't want this one to think I like them better. Like, okay, it doesn't matter. You'll be dead, right? That's for me to have to sit in an awkward conversation and explain. The part about you being alive in an estate plan is your power of attorney and your will. I'm sorry, your power of attorney and your medical power of attorney.
Power of attorney is like, legal.
Correct.
Medical power of attorney is anything medical.
Right, like who's going to make medical decisions for you? Who do you trust to make medical decisions if you can't?
And you're saying that should be written down somewhere.
Yes.
And can people like download this and like fill out a piece of paper, put it in an envelope? Is that enough?
It could be challenged, and it's probably not enough. It should be a legal document done professionally, in my opinion, for many reasons. One, because sometimes you could just put like things in there that might not be relevant. And remember, you're talking about like healthcare systems that are in the age of litigation and malpractice. Doctors, hospitals want to protect themselves as well. So the first thing they'll say is, does a person have and it's not just a living will. So let's just say you're temporarily unavailable. Maybe you have an accident. Maybe you have a surgery. You need someone to pay your taxes.
Somebody said, hold on. Somebody wrote in here. It said, I want to make sure that my ex is not the one making my medical decisions. So
someone wrote, Michelle, talk to us like
we're in kindergarten. Yeah. Take it down, Michelle.
Girl, I only do that for my boo.
It says you don't want an ex in charge of your medical decisions if you were in an accident.
Correct. Like, would you want your ex? So here's what happens. So let's just, for the people who do have estate plans or power of attorney, let's say power of attorney, right? Because that's included in estate plan.
Okay.
That says that, let's play this out. So-and-so can make my medical decisions or my financial decisions if I'm impaired and unavailable.
Okay.
Would you want your ex to make those decisions for you? No shade just on who they are as a person, but they are your ex for a reason, right?
Yeah.
Right. But a lot of people, when they get divorced, they forget or they're so busy, they don't update it, right?
Or drunk. Yes.
Right. Or drunk.
Michelle.
Or they're just partying.
So now Laura said, I inherited my mom's condo, but I chose to keep it in the irrevocable trust of my mom so I would not have to put my husband's name on the condo. Mm-hmm. And that is the beauty of a trust, right?
Yes.
That it's not really owned by you, so your ex can't get it.
Well, depending. If it's an irrevocable trust, then it's an irrevocable gift. And also inheritances, true or false?
All right, hit me. I'm ready.
Inheritances are split equally in divorce.
Inheritances. So if I inherited money towards the end of my divorce,
or the condo, or
the condo,
or
and it was before the actual divorce went through, but we're not on good terms, and I got a condo,
or it was while you were married,
or it was while we were married. My gut says that they would. I say, let's see what they say. Hold on. Let's see what everybody says. So everybody says true, false, no, false, true, no right to inheritance, true, no, passes over the spouse, no, false, true. I changed my mind, true. Just a minute, yeah. Sadly, my one sister I trust with everything is much older than I am. I'm afraid she will be gone when it's time for me to make big decisions. False, no. All right, so I'm going to go with they do not get half of it, that is protected.
Okay, and that is likely true. You're correct, unless you commingle. So I forget who said it, that they left the condo in the irrevocable trust. That was a wise decision. So if wise decision if you don't want it to be subject to equitable distribution if you get divorced.
So you got to keep it in a separate account.
You got to keep it separate. So inheritances, if you inherit something while you're married, as long as you don't commingle that asset. So let's say you inherit cash and you put it in your joint account with your spouse. Mm-hmm. Now you've commingled it, right? Let's say you inherit the house and you then you move into it with your spouse. That could be considered a marital asset because it could be the marital
So you're
residence.
telling me that if somebody inherits and they just put it in the wrong account and it's commingled, that's it?
Yeah. You have to be very careful with how you...
Carol's like, I commingled. Yeah. That's a dirty word now.
It is a dirty word.
Don't commingle.
Don't co-anything.
What if your parents are still alive and gave you money?
So that can be considered a gift or an inheritance, but you should not commingle.
Don't commingle. Don't dirty word. It's basically the F word.
Put it in an account in just your name. If you're unsure,
hide it under your mattress.
If you think you're going to be one of the 40 to 50% of people that get divorced. So half of you should not commingle.
Who feels special here? Anybody feeling special? Anybody feeling lucky?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right?
Now listen, Kathy just said that no joint accounts in this marriage. Are you a fan of joint accounts in marriage? Like, where do you stand?
This is a fascinating question.
Okay.
So my partner and I, the main reason that we got divorced or getting divorced is religious differences.
Okay.
He thought he was God and I didn't. It's so weird. But no, really. So
I don't know why you don't have your own show.
Oh, because I'll probably get abducted in the parking lot after this. So really, okay. So in the beginning of my marriage, I was like, first of all, I never wanted to get married. It just I tripped over like an engagement and it happened, right?
Okay.
So we opened joint accounts. And then sometimes when people are very controlling, they like to tell you like what you can buy and what you can't buy, but then they want to just buy whatever. Oh. So the first conversation that we had about, you can buy this, that was it. Like we both were like, no joint accounts. So for the length of my marriage, we did not have joint accounts. Okay. So I had my account, he had his account, and then we had one kind of joint account, which we would both put money into to pay the shared bills.
Okay.
But I always advocate for all of you having a ladies' nice things account, which means money that you put in there for whatever, like your Amazon purchases, like whatever. And I'm not saying that you should be hiding money from your spouse. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying some financial differences are on the list of reasons that people do get divorced, right? So but like maybe you don't want him to know every dollar that you are spending, right? So it really depends on the dynamic of your marriage. Also in second marriages, a lot of times people do not have all their accounts joint because it's like, this was this, or I have this responsibility to my kids and, kids from other marriages, or my mother, or my father, or my sandwich generation issues, right? So I think joint accounts, it depends on the situation, but I am such a fan for women having at least one of their accounts in just their name for many reasons.
Well, as Stacy said, every person I know who has gotten divorced has separate accounts. Coincidence?
I just think they're more prepared when they get divorced then.
Well, here's the thing. Because of the dynamic of our relationship, he was the main provider and I was the main person taking care of kids. So if there were separate accounts, Michelle, there wouldn't be any money in my account. Right. I didn't have any money for the majority of our marriage, so there was really no reason because mine wouldn't have anything in it.
Some people I think it really depends on the dynamic, right? I have friends who are happily married or they're married and they are joint accounts and there's no issues at all, right?
Yeah.
So it really depends on the dynamic. But someone wrote, I inherited money basically that she wrote and it would look bad not to commingle it, which I also understand because it is kind of awkward, like, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I got this, but then also like, girl, why are you letting your parents tell about the gifts they gave you?
Mm-hmm. Keep it a secret.
Right. Shh. I'm going to tell them later, much later. So it really just depends. But let's see. I'm mad. Why is she mad?
No, that's a scammer.
Oh, got it. Okay. All right. So.
All right. Next one.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get it.
My dad and stepmom each had their play money. They can do whatever they wanted.
Right.
Separate accounts. Be 30 years married. Yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Correct. Okay. True or false?
I do have a question, though, before we leave it. Let's say you did have separate accounts and you had the joint account and then you divorce. Is the idea that they were separate the whole time? So you walk away with that and you walk? No, you're still going to be splitting everything.
If it was accumulated during the course of the marriage, it's still considered a marital asset.
Got it.
Yeah. I still have a joint account. So.
Got it.
Because I'm like, Sir, you can stop sending subpoenas to the bank. You're on the account. Just look and see what I'm spending money on for our children's.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, hit me.
So, true or false?
Okay.
You can remain on your ex-spouse's health insurance plan indefinitely after divorce.
No.
False. What does everyone say?
Oh, yeah. You can ask other people, but the answer is false. Because if that was true, I would have. And if you say it is, I'm going to be so mad.
Well, it's not indefinitely, but there is something called divorce from bed and board.
What words are you saying? Are you making these up?
So, no, this is the truth.
Tell me.
I make up a lot of things.
I know. I love it.
This is not one of them. Divorce from bed and board means that you can get divorced on paper, but you're not really divorced for up to 3 years after so that you can remain on your spouse's health insurance. And that happens. It's not that common anymore, but some people still do it. The reason you would do that is because, as you know, if you're self-employed or if you are, let's just say, going back into the workforce or you have maybe minor children and you can only work part-time for schedules.
Yeah.
Health insurance is extremely expensive, right? Yes.
So that was one of the things that I was most concerned about because I've never had a real job, so I don't ever have health insurance.
Don't say that.
Yeah, but it's true. I mean, I've always been self-employed, so I don't, I've always just fallen under his insurance. But the COBRA, it's illegal for a company to just drop you. So when you're divorced, they have to offer some type of COBRA plan. So right now, Michelle, I have roughly 16 months left on my COBRA health insurance. And so I need to be married by October 25th of 25. And I am accepting applications from anyone with Aetna is a preference. And I'll need to see proof of insurance. And I will not do referrals. So
do people know
keep it in mind.
Do they know what state you live in?
New Jersey?
Oh, it's got to be Aetna, New Jersey then.
Yeah. I'm real specific
Aetna,
what I'm looking for. And they don't tell you that on the dating apps. It's not like, oh, I have Aetna. I wish it would. It tells you like their height, their education. I don't care. I want to see proof of insurance. Is this going to go anywhere?
I agree.
I need to know. Does Al the plumber even have insurance? Right. Just so you know, Michelle. I don't know if because I think I'm older than you. I'm 51.
I'm old.
Okay.
I'm not on Bumble, but I'm old.
Yeah, I'm Bumble old.
Would you want my Bumble age or do you want my real age?
But I am killing it with 70-year-old men. Like I run into, and they're like, you are gorgeous. Now, 50-year-old men don't see me. Neither barely 40-year-old men. But 70-year-olds are like, honey, you're amazing.
Right.
I hang out with them at coffee shops. Al the plumber comes over. You have to meet Al the plumber.
Should we do a golden bachelor for you?
Yes.
We should do that.
Yes.
Let's do that. Let's do Dina finds a
health insurance fellow. Exactly. Yeah. I'll take an agent. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It is important though, because that is important consideration when you're getting divorced. And it's also important because when you're budgeting for what your life's going to look like after divorce, that's an expense that you might not have. So,
yeah. And that was something that Jim and I talked about a lot because he knew that. I was like, that I'm going to have to afford this on my own and I can't. So those were all conversations when we were talking about like when his pension was going to kick in, Social Security. So we had those conversations. Those are not easy conversations to have when you're fighting, but they were important.
So if you're a man and you're watching this, please tell your friends, or a lady and you have man friends that are on dating apps. We don't want to see the picture of your giant fish. Okay. Good for you, sir. Good for you. Like,
Michelle just made a left turn.
No,
she's still on
post
Bumble
your health
app.
Insurance card, right? That's sexy.
Let me back up. Let me play Michelle for a second. So on the dating apps, every guy dating app has a picture of them holding a giant fish or the gym picture. Yeah, Diane doesn't know what you're talking about. Or a picture of them at the gym
or
with their top off. Or golf or a mountain or a piece of steak on a grill. Yes. It is
like, sir, who are you trying to attract?
This is
another
not important.
Guy?
Yeah. This is not important to us.
No,
we want to see. Yeah,
we don't care.
Oh my God, she scared me. Yeah, I needed to give a little bit of background to what Michelle was talking about. She was having like a Bumble breakdown, and I just want to explain that.
Don't get me started on Bumble anyway. They cold diss women. So.
Did you hear that they're letting guys talk first on Bumble?
No.
Yes. Yes. That was the great thing. We're going to take a break from finance. So on Bumble, there's Bumbles, there's Hinge, there's all of them. There's a ton, right? But the great thing about Bumble was that you could have guys like say, oh, hi, but that's it. They can't, you have to match with them and they're still not. What's Bumble? Okay. Melinda. Okay. It's a dating app.
Melinda's obviously
for those married. Of us, or doesn't care anymore.
Right. She's in the 4B movement.
Yeah. So So on the app, the guys couldn't talk to you until you talked to them first, which made it a safer place. I thought, because I told you, I got that message one day, and they were like, "Hey, I know where you live," and
you didn't tell me.
I didn't tell you that, and I freaked out. I just sat on the app, and I was like, I was in my house, and I was like, "Why are they saying they know where I live?" And I didn't say anything because it freaked me out. And then it said, I used to be your mailman a couple years ago. And I was like, okay, all right, coming off the, I don't want that.
Well, you could go incognito. Like that was the other thing about Bumble that was better than Hinge. You can change so you can see them.
Oh, but they can't
see you. So then it's not awkward when you're at like in the car line at school or at sports and like the divorced dads are like, hey, I saw you online. And I'm like,
no,
that's so weird.
You didn't. That's my sister.
Yeah. And don't, here's another piece. Tell your friends this too. Okay. If they're the mailman or there's somebody that know, like if you want to ask someone out, could you ask them out? Don't match with me online and then be hey, no, sir. That's also giving.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The mailman probably did have good insurance. So you're not wrong.
But he has great insurance.
Yeah.
And a pension.
I mean, maybe I didn't think it through, but it freaked me out. So today's show is dating apps and finance for divorce. They go together.
Yes.
So continue, Michelle.
Okay. Let's see here. True or false?
Okay.
Divorce can have a lasting impact on your credit score.
My credit is actually really good. And that was one thing, side note, Michelle, that was one thing that I didn't think about prior to divorce, but trying to get trying to buy the house from Jim, and it wasn't even Jim that was the problem, it was the mortgage company. It was like, look, and I was like, I have an amazing credit score. And I remember thinking, I didn't think about this at all. And luckily I did have businesses going. So that you're saying that has a negative effect. I would say no. I'm going to say no because it's wrong if it does.
Well, lasting impact.
A lasting impact.
So the answer is true. It can, but for the reasons that you're saying. So essentially what you want to be clear about is, again, it goes back to whether you're doing divorce through mediation, through if it's litigious and you're going through attorneys, then you want to understand what is the marital debt, how it's going to be paid, and whose name it's in when you get divorced. Because just because you say you're like, let's say your divorce decree says, you're responsible for 50 and this person's responsible for 50, but it's all happened to be the credit cards are all in your name, right? The credit card companies, and then you get divorced and your spouse doesn't pay their 50 that they're supposed to pay, but the cards are in your name, right? Because that's just how you ran money when you were getting married. And this goes for men and women. The credit card companies don't necessarily care like what the divorce decree says. They care that you have half the debt, or you have all the debt in your name and it's supposed to be paid. So if you have to be very careful or well planned out when you are getting divorced to make sure that you have those things addressed and that there's the resources for repaying the debt, right? Because there's that accumulation of marital debt. So if you walk away and it's like, okay, well, we're both going to pay off the credit cards. If they're in joint name, then it's going to impact you both. So the other person's going to be more incentivized to hold up their end of the bargain.
Got it.
But if it's not, then that can have a lasting impact. Also, while you're going through divorce, right? Because if you're the one that's paying, like let's say you have the joint accounts or you don't, you're the one that's paying the household expenses. I don't know how you handled it in your divorce, but depending on the reasons for the separation or the divorce, if one person is just like carrying the household, or if one person finds themselves in a situation where they have to pay all the expenses, and there's that weird time before you get divorced, like between when you file and when you get divorced, if you don't have what they call pendente lite support or temporary alimony.
What words are you saying? You're like Paducah insurance, then you will get deducted.
If you're not getting an allowance from your spouse while you're waiting.
Is that what that's called? What's the
basically word? What pendente lite. It's, how like legal, like they like to have all these legal terms. Listen, yeah. I just learned.
You say it really well.
I've said it a lot when I'm asking for it. That's why. So
that's really crazy.
During that time, let's say you're getting divorced and you don't have that pendant. So for example, I know a girl, she lives in my house and she's paying all of the expenses while they're trying to hash out, because like sometimes people lie about their income to the judge, and then you have to pay everything while you're waiting for the divorce to go through. And what you might be paying is, the mortgage, everything for the kids, and the joint credit card debt, right? So if you're at student loans, so if you're paying all of that because you don't want to miss a payment, because what happens if you miss a payment?
Your credit gets messed up.
What happens if your credit
Kathy
gets messed
said?
up?
She said, I rolled our credit card debt over to individual names before we divorced to make sure it was in his name. I paid my share and he filed bankruptcy.
Exactly. And that happens a lot. Yep. And then, right. Now, if it's out of the person's name, like if it's out of your name, but what happens, because what really are the reasons you would want to have good credit after you get divorced?
So you can start over.
Right.
And you can't.
Right.
Wow. Michelle sounded like Charlie Brown's teacher when she uses these big words. Wah, wah.
Wah, wah. Well, It's a thing, right? So credit is very important. You want to make sure that and then the other thing is sometimes people get divorced and maybe the credit cards were only in the spouse's name. And even if everything was amicable, you're still starting over.
Well, one of the things that happened, and I guess we had already gone through the divorce, and it was like within the year, it was like a year later, I get a call saying, hey, Mrs. Blizzard, we're sending out your new credit card. It was compromised. And I was like, I don't have a credit card with you. What are you talking about? And she was like, yeah, you do. It's this one. Da, da, da. I go, I don't have that credit card. So we go back and forth, and it turns out it was a card that we had gotten 24 years ago together when we first got married, but we just I never used it. I had my own credit cards that I was using, but it still had my name on it. And I was like, okay, this is not okay, because I'm responsible whether or not we're married or not. My name is on it.
Right. That's
so correct. So I said, take my name off of it. And she said, no. She said, I can't take your name off of it. The other person has to call and say he wants to take it off.
Yes.
And so it was this whole thing. And then I called Jim and I was like, listen, this happened. He was like, that's fine. I'll call and I'll take it off. I was like, Jim, this is a big deal. Like, I was so upset. He goes, I forgot you were on it. I'll just take you off because I use it. It's fine.
Right.
So they did. They took me off of it. But that wasn't. I just
on
didn't
your radar,
know.
right?
I was like, it was 24. They're like, you've been a faithful customer for 24 years.
Right.
I was like, I have. It was so funny.
And I would recommend anyone going through the process that immediately, like, and even throughout the process, you pull a copy of your credit report.
Well, that's what somebody said. You can find out the list of all the credit cards that you have.
Because like you said, you might be like, what? I don't even recognize this.
Yeah.
Right? So,
yeah. That was really interesting.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. When we separated, I called credit card companies and took my name off all the cards. He was responsible, especially after he purchased for his girlfriend. Marsha.
Yeah.
Marsha.
I mean, it happens a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So
I know, LaFive. I we definitely had our moments for sure of getting ugly, but we are both at a place where we're trying to. Yeah.
It seems like your communication, especially post, is very like amicable, which is nice.
It is. We're trying our best. I think that, the hurt times have not completely subsided, but I think that, in terms of for our kids and, I think that both of us just want each other to be happy. So
yeah, which is what it should be, right? I mean, we always say in our business, especially with divorce, that when people are like, it doesn't matter how much you want the divorce, right? It's still hard. And we always say it's like the death of a small village, right? Because your family's like this small village, and even if it's dysfunctional, and even if like everyone wants to overthrow the village leader, it's still hard, right? It's still a death of a small civilization, and then you have to figure out like how to rebuild after that. Yeah. And if you can get along with the defectors, after it really is in the best interest of everyone.
Yeah.
So
now Summer on TikTok just said, I'm so scared at the beginning of a divorce. Yeah. It's scary, Summer.
It is.
But here's the good news, Summer, is that I think that on the other side of it, if you feel like you're in a situation that's not good for you, it's not healthy for you, that after this hard time, that there's peace. Let me just say that. And I don't know that I ever really could feel what peace means to your soul until, because I feel like a lot of us kind of relationships evolve, and sometimes they evolve to good places. Sometimes they do not. I think that peace, we start to accept more and more, and we're like, oh, this must be normal. This must be normal. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, this can't be, this shouldn't be. So peace has a whole different meaning when it comes to your soul. So we're here for you, Summer. There's a lot of us, which is why we have a show.
Yeah.
So I just filed sole custody for my daughter for my ex. I think it's best. So my ex can't make any decision because he can't take care of her medical needs and emotional needs. Yeah.
Yeah. That's tough. It's tough. It's tough.
My parents divorced and my mom never emotionally recovered. It was hard. Yeah.
Yeah, It is hard. It is hard. And again, it depends on, like the reasons for the divorce. And I always advocate, like, I know we're, for humor and fun and bringing levity to these situations, but I'm a huge believer in therapy. I think, an advocate for that when you're going through it, as much as you talk to your girlfriends, right? Because they would be like, Michelle, stop it. We told you 20 years ago to divorce him. I'm like, I wasn't even married then.
We knew.
Right.
We knew.
Or like, you just don't like, you don't want to be like, okay, here we come. Every time I come in here, she comes unpacking all of her divorce drama. You just want to be light. And like you said, you want to figure out that. So just sometimes fleshing it out and talking about it so you can recover emotionally.
And I have another friend who's going through a divorce, and I said to them, I remember because it was happening during the pandemic and my dad had just passed, and I was really concerned about the kids. So I was like all about getting them set up. Do you have a therapist? Da, 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 da. And then at one point they were like, do you have a therapist? And I was like, what are you talking about? They were like, you're going to need to. And it was the best thing I did for myself, especially when it was I felt like it was all happening at the same time.
Yeah, because it is. It was.
It was.
Yes.
It was. I have to hide Sharon's phone so she won't learn any of these tips and tricks, said Jim Wagner. Oh. I like my ex much better than I ever did while married, said Fran.
Well, and that can happen too, right? Because sometimes it's like, well, we just weren't a good match for each other. But like I have friends and they're so like to the point where my other friend and I are like, stop, you guys are still a thing, aren't you? Like, yeah, they have good chemistry as parents.
Yeah.
But it's like good business partners.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Not good romantic partners. So
she said, yes, friends said that they knew, Summer said, and yes to therapy.
And a lot of times other people know before you do, because like you said, it becomes a weird, like normal until you get out of it. You don't realize, how messed up it was or how certain things you're like, so, we should do this series. I saw like one TikTok, these girls were doing it.
What?
It was called like Things He Did and I Still Stayed. But some of them were hilarious.
I'm gonna
did
say,
you ever like look back on a relationship, even if you were dating, and be like,
what did it?
That was such an ick.
Why did I do that? Yeah.
Give me one.
Yeah. Oh no, there's a lot.
I'll give you one.
Yeah. Are you give me one? But I'm not.
It's not even for my baby daddy.
All right, what?
I have a type. Okay. Okay. Oh,
what's your type?
Well, the healed part of me or the unhealed part of me?
Both.
The unhealed part of me is like I like an Eminem kind of guy. The healed part of me, I don't like a Jedi master.
Really? Did not expect you to say that. Really? You're an Eminem kind of guy?
I like a man.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't wait to see. Let's go through the dating app after we're off the air.
I know. No, I swipe so much on Bumble. This is a true thing. I don't mean to go back to it, but like this is a problem.
Let's go back.
Okay. It actually said you have. I'll show it to you. I made a video and sent it to my girlfriends. Okay. You've reached all of your swipes and there's none left. You have to expand your search radius.
No, I did.
My search radius was the US.
Yeah.
Like what?
I thought you said it for like South Jersey.
No, it wasn't like 30 miles. That was like lasted about 30 seconds.
They were like, the universe is just not, this continent is too small for you.
Girl, you damaged.
Wait, somebody said, Sherry, you said, I'd love to go to therapy. I don't have money to pay for it. All right, here's what I'm going to say to you, Sherry. Check your insurance because lots of insurances will give you a certain amount of therapy and whatever. But I will also say, go on the Facebook. Find a group there is a group for divorced people, single people, people who are dating people who are depressed, people dating people who are married, people, things that there is a free support group everywhere. And I'm not saying that, that they're all stellar, but I am saying I think that it is important for you to find a group that can meet you where you are, that, like Michelle's saying, isn't your girlfriend that's like, I never liked him from the beginning. Like you want to just be able to talk about this common experience. I think it's really important. So yeah. Keep that in mind.
There's like a lot of resources if you start like look to Google.
Look to the Google.
Free therapy.
Yeah.
Google it. Yeah. Because there are resources out there.
All right, let's do one more.
Okay. Let's see here.
I think so far, I think I have like a 70 on this test.
I think you're doing pretty well.
No, right? It's all right. Yeah. It's not bad.
Okay. Hold on. There's so many.
Alejandra said, tell her to look up the White Flag app.
Oh.
We'll do that after the show.
Okay. True or false? Jointly owned property is always... Oh, we did that with the other thing. Hold on. Okay. True or false? Divorce proceedings always require a court trial.
Well, I know that Jim did not contest our divorce, so I thought we could just fill out the papers, but I had whoever files still has to show up to court. Jim didn't have to come, but I did have to go to court. Yes.
Right. So, and that's not actually a trial. That's just the judge.
That was a hearing of some kind.
Yeah, a judge has to sign off and say yes.
Is that considered a trial?
No.
Oh.
So many people think that it's like, like the fear is I can't go through that. I don't know what that's going to be, or there's going to be a trial. It's too expensive because people sometimes don't get divorced because it's too expensive, right?
Yeah, mine was $500.
Oh, I saw a sign on my
That was me. That's what I did. $4.99. I shouldn't brag. It was $4.99.
I literally pulled my car over.
Michelle,
recently because there was this a $4.99 sign, and it must have been next to another business. I hope it was, because there was a line going into that business.
Michelle,
and I was like,
it was $4.99.
No.
Mm-hmm. And Anna said my divorce cost me $30,000.
Right, Anna? I'm more like on the side of Anna. However, anyone who says that money can't buy you happiness hasn't wanted a divorce.
My divorce cost $50,000.
Yeah.
You guys are blowing my mind. Mine was $4.99.
And those were without trial, right? They were probably just like litigious, like attorneys. And really, who benefits from that, right?
Carol said uncontested is cheap. Yeah. Yes. If it's not contested, correct, then you can go $4.99. Yeah. But if there's fighting.
Yes. Yeah. So it doesn't owe. And even the ones that are $30,000 to $50,000, most divorces don't end up in a trial because you're paying hourly for your attorney to be there. And because most people don't have the assets to warrant a trial, right?
So so just to be clear, so what mine was more of just a hearing just for the signing off, which
everyone has that.
Everybody has
that.
No
matter what, because someone has to, isn't it kind of messed up that like, it's not like a regular breakup, right? There's like this rando judge who's like, oh, okay, I approve your breakup.
Yeah, well,
I notarized your breakup.
Well, it was really interesting because the questions he asked me were they're so crazy. And I'm actually writing about it in the book, but like the questions he asked, he was like, do you come to this hearing of your full understanding? Did anybody coerce you? It was a lot of questions about coercion. A lot of questions were you threatened in any way to come here? I think that in some ways it's there to protect people from like, if you had a guy who was just like, just sign this and put it in the mail, then that's not the best case. So it was a lot of questions about, did I understand? Do you understand that did you get legal counsel? And I said, no. He's like, do you realize that by not getting legal counsel, you could have gotten more or less? Are you happy with what you had? But it was the same question over and over again. And I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I was fine. I'm not coerced. And so, I think in some ways it was horrible, but it wasn't a hearing, it's just me by myself in this room. But,
well, and the funny thing about that is, why doesn't anyone ask you those questions before you get married? Were you coerced
to be here? Kind of, because they said there'd be a big party afterwards. Right. Well, and I like parties.
He said I would be happy, that we would be happy.
He bribed me with this ring.
He said he would be faithful.
He said he loved me forever. Is that true?
Yes. He said he would help with half the chores. Psych.
Yeah.
And that is like, but that's just the way it goes. So at the end, yes, the judge signs off, but you're correct. And that's just another tip. I know we're getting to the end, but even if you're going through mediation, or you're going through, there's rules and laws of what each state has for divorce, right? So like New Jersey, it's equitable. Doesn't mean equal, it means equitable. So 50-50 could be divided. But as you know, you can come to an agreement amongst each other, whether that's in mediation or whether that's, amongst each other. And that doesn't have to be 50-50, right? A lot of women are, and it's not just women, but usually this is what I see. They're sentimentally attached to their house. We get more attached to certain things. So sometimes we want to keep the marital home or keep the kids in the home, or there's reasons why, people negotiate divorce settlements that aren't like 50-50 if we put everything in a column and divided it out. You can come to any agreement you want, but the judge just wants to make sure that your agreement was that you understand.
Yeah.
Because there are people that live in fear, right, within their marriage.
Yeah.
It's no secret that, I'm very open about the fact that I went through a 3-month-long domestic violence trial that ended my marriage. But there are people that they just want to get out. They just want to get away. And they sign off on things and they don't realize until later. And also, even if it is amicable, you're starting over, right? And if you don't have a pension or you haven't had a retirement, you want to understand what you're agreeing to, because there's no turning back. So I think,
Yeah. Somebody said, do they ask the men that same question? So Mary, whoever files, has to be at that, hearing. Jim didn't have to be there because he wasn't contesting it. I imagine if a man, filed and showed up by himself, they're asking the same questions, because it's really about the person who's kind of bringing this to the table and saying, I want out, I want to leave. My ex gets 29% of my pension. Same for Bob's ex. We pretty much pay one whole pension out each month to other people.
Yeah. That happens a lot, but it has to do with like the accumulation of assets during the marriage, right? So the best solution is don't get married. Young people, kidding. Just kidding. Sorry. That's terrible.
That's not. Listen, things happen. And I think, and we've talked about this, not you and I, but we've talked about it here. But like when I was younger, if somebody got divorced, like they were excommunicated from the church. Like it was like not a good, that whispers, where I think that a lot of women stayed in scenarios that were not great because there was so much negativity attached to it. And I think that at this point, women are more educated, more independent than ever. And I think that we have choices, and I think men have choices. And sometimes if things aren't great, sometimes they're better when you're not together. So,
do you know, I looked up a statistic because I was like, what's the
average? Tell me your statistic.
What do you think is the average length of a marriage as of 2021? What's the average length of a marriage?
I'm going to say 12 years.
8 years.
8 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the average length of my divorce. But no.
How long were you married?
I'm still married, girl.
Tell me. What's the number?
I'm married and I'm on Bumble. So, but so was he. While we were still.
So how long has it been?
I got married in 2005. Who wants to do the math?
2005. So it's almost 25. So it's 19 years.
Mm-hmm. Happy Annie. And then, okay. What is the highest rate, and during the highest rates of divorce, what ages? Give me an age.
You mean like between 25 and 35, like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the right answer?
Pretty much 25 and 39. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. But there's a rise in...
I was going to say, I bet the numbers are changing because I'm finding a lot of people who've been married for, like I was 24, 30 years. You're starting to see more of those.
Yes. So it's called over 50. What's over 50? What's divorce called over 50?
Freedom. I want out. I'm going to live my life.
Puberty.
What's it called?
Puberty? No. It's called gray divorce. So that means people who
file. They gotta make everything gray. Why they gotta do that? They couldn't say sparkly silver, fantasticalism. It's not even a word.
So that the number of gray divorce, there's a trend in it. The number of people filing for gray divorce or over 50 filing for divorce has doubled since the 90s. So you're right in your thinking there. So because we're like, what? I'm not doing this.
Why can't they call Girl Got a Groove Back? That's
right.
It.
Hello, Stella.
That's really, yeah. It was called the Stella. Why don't you call it a Stella divorce?
I'm getting a Stella divorce.
I'm getting a Stella divorce.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, exactly, Allison. She knows.
Yes. Geriatric divorce.
Geriatric divorce. She knows with my hoo-ha.
No, but guess what I also read?
Tell me.
There is a high number of STDs in nursing homes.
Absolutely, Michelle. That's an old one. Catch up, Michelle. Because they're all doing their thing.
That is so. There's a whole world out there. When you get divorced or you're trying to get divorced, you realize
Michelle,
people are still out there.
Eyes wide open.
It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, that gave me hope when I read that. I was
like, you're like, I could too one day have an STD in a nursing home. I had hope. I was like, I have a goal now.
I was like, I might not find a guy on Bumble, but I am finding
I am going to get an STD by the time I get into a nursing home.
Yes. When I start smelling like ammonia,
it's a different shirt.
For me.
So. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, everyone, another great day with Finance Michelle. And remember, what's your website? I should put it in here.
Capwell.
www.cat.
Hyphen
between the two.
Hyphen between the two.
Sexy.com.
Yes.
All right. So that's where you can find Michelle and her team. If you have questions, you want to follow up on things. If you're at the point where you're like, you know what, all this is starting to really ring true for me. They do things virtually as well. Wherever you are. Hopefully you're happily married. Things are going great. You still need to be planning for things in terms of your retirement, your trusts, your whatever it is. Or maybe you're thinking about older people or your kids. digits, whatever, the 529s. We still have lots more to talk about. We have 3 more sessions with Michelle, always on Tuesdays. So don't forget to put that on your calendar. And that's it. Let's hear it for Michelle. She did a great job today. I love it. So we look forward to having you back again. But thanks for watching, everybody. Again, it's Tuesday. It is not Monday. Keep that in mind. Tipsy Tuesdays tonight. I just reminded myself. So we'll see you tonight. And if you can't make it, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning. So have a great day and a blessed day, everybody. We'll see you soon. Bye. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's morning show, make sure to follow us for more One Funny Mother content.
Okay, all right. Morse code is tapping.
And check out OneFunnyMotherStore.com for great new inappropriate swag. And for more exclusive content, consider becoming a supporter.
She got a bad leg.
Thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow on